Nick, are you ready? Okay. Yes. Shut up. Shut up. Hi, my name is Kai Hansen, and I did my project on sharks I found unique, cool, interesting. I've always liked sharks, so I thought I might as well do a project on it. The different kinds of sharks I'll be covering today are the hammerhead shark, the great white shark, and the leopard shark. I do have angel sharks here because I was going to add angel sharks. I did not have time, however, but next one, I was planning on adding it. The first one I'll be covering is the hammerhead shark. You can identify a hammerhead shark based on the shape of their head, but there's also some sharks that do have this similar shape. However, you can tell the difference based off this kind of bump. Another fun fact is this bump has sensors. It helps them hunt based off when they shake their head, it goes like back and forth, and it moves the water around them, and when it hits a prey, it kind of like tells them in a way like a radar on a boat, and it helps them find the prey. And then they also shake their head for agility because, as a lot of people know, hammerhead sharks are pretty aggressive towards most things. They're really just territorial. But it ends up also kind of affecting them when it comes to moving based off these side fins. These side fins don't react very well when it comes to shaking because they help move forward, and when you shake, it kind of interferes with this part. It's kind of sad, but they're really cool. Their diet also consists of seals, other sharks, and fish, like reef fish and stuff like that. How to identify a great white shark? You can identify a great white shark. You can identify a great white shark based on the white underbelly and the gray on top. The difference in both is very unique because there's not a lot of other sharks that have the same colored difference. A really cool fun fact about great white sharks is they're really not aggressive. Most of the time, they mix humans up with seals. Speaking of seals, seals are a big part of their diet. They eat seals, Seals, gosh, why can't I think of the name of it? Fish, smaller sharks, and even their own offspring if they aren't going to make it. When sharks end up giving birth, if their pup, which is their offspring, isn't fit for the environment or just has an issue, they will just eat their offspring, which again is really sad. My next one is leopard sharks. I really like leopard sharks actually, and it's why I added them into the slideshow. There's two different kinds of leopard sharks. There's the ones with these kinds of spots, but then there's also the ones with these spots. Speaking of, I will get into that in just a second. You can identify a leopard shark based off the clip in the corner of their lip. There is another one that looks very similar to them. It is called the cookie cutter shark. It is very cool, but that one is way, way deeper. It's in the twilight zone. This one is more in the reef, more lighter area. And this one, which is the one that I have most of my project on, is the one with these kinds of spots and the difference in the pattern. They have those patterns to hide underneath the sand, or while they hunt, they grab their back fin and chuck water at their prey. I really badly wanted to add a video of this, however, I didn't have time. What was next? The reason why they have these bottom fins is for when they are moving through the water, complete opposite of the hammerhead shark. They use them to turn in the water while they grab their fin to chuck water at you. This helps them move freely while they do it. Again, when they hunt, they end up backing into a corner in the coral reef and chuck the water. It ends up knocking the prey unable to defend themselves, I guess, because it's flipping them upside down. Now I will get into my painting. This one I'm so much more happy about. Okay. This painting took me, I'm going to move it over this close so I can see it too. This painting took me 2 to 3 days. My first stage was my drawing stage. That is when I first sketch it out on a piece of paper, my draft, what I want the specific idea to look like. When I first drew, I first drew this one because hammerhead sharks are my favorite shark, so I was like, I want to incorporate a hammerhead shark. I added the hammerhead shark, and I felt like the rest of the canvas looked super empty, so I added my leopard shark. After this, the next stage is the coloring stage and the shading stage. My issue here is I forgot to take a picture before I colored both of these, so I promise you, I did it. I added that one, and then I ended up adding a second one after I did the background. Shush. I started off by adding a light blue or gray for the hammerhead because they are gray, and the shades of the ocean make them look more blue. I think that's actually really cool, and the algae in the water helps too. And I started this one off with a very light brown, and it came out tan. Wasn't what I was looking for, but again, I'm really happy with how it turned out. Part 3 is the background, where I got this very dark blue paint from my friend, my dear, dear friend, Raylania. And she actually helped me a lot with this part, where I would paint the background this dark blue. It looks black in this lighting, but if you turn the lights up, you will be able to see the lighter blue part of it. I went over this maybe 3 times just to make sure I got that specific blue I was looking for. And then after that, I will show my finishing details. I ended up adding this just because, again, I thought the canvas looked empty. I added the seaweed that if you look at the beginning, you can kind of see remnants of, where'd it go? The remnants of seaweed where I added one here eventually, but I accidentally painted over it. I did add these bubbles, which does not make sense, but that's okay. I like the way it looked, and what I'm really proud about of this whole thing is how much I use my imagination. But the shading is what I probably struggled with most. I want to thank everybody that helped me, such as Palin Nikolai, Ben Toller-Flantz, Raylania Miller, Bryson, Kieran, and Max Brown. Thank you guys so much for helping me. It really meant a lot. Any questions? Yes, Nick?
You mentioned the Twilight Zone. Was that referring to the 1950s television show?
No, they have different levels, so where it slowly gets darker, and the tension based off how, what's the name for it? When the water starts to get pressure, thank you. The pressure builds, so it gets darker, and the light can't reach. So is it photosynthesis? Photosynthesis can't really work very well down there, and the pressure gets really very tight. So there's actually, I watched a video about it. There was the difference between animals up here, or fish up here, compared to down very, very deep, is very, very creepy. Actually, I don't like it. They freak me out. Yes?
Hammerhead sharks, their eyes are on the sides of their head.
Yeah, so
Are they able to see forward?
they see 360 all the way around.
Oh.
I know. So that's kind of why they have these back fins. It's also to help turn, but when they are hunting, when they shake their head, it doesn't work very well. I meant to mention that too. Gosh, thank you. Their eyes do go all the way around. When I first did research, I was under the impression that they couldn't see right in front of them, but they could see everywhere else. But the deeper I got into my research, the more I realized that they can see all the way around. It's also very cool. Palin?
What inspired you to do this project?
Well, I had a hyperfixation on sharks for the past year and a half, and my senior presentation, or what I want to do for my senior project, is go to a zoo like how Jaden did last year. I want to do something similar to that because it really just inspired me, because I also wanted to go to that Friday, but I, again, didn't have the time because I wanted to get all my credits last year. Shark?
Have you ever seen a shark before in person?
Actually, yes. I went to a zoo for a Friday, and I got to pet a leopard shark.
What about the one that you're looking at right now?
Oh, yeah, I pet that one too. Anybody else? Thank you guys for having me. I'm putting this on the ground.
Okay, you all good now?
Yeah. Okay. If no one else is coming in, I'm gonna close this.
Wait, do you need the mic?
I have it.
Okay.
Woo. Okay. Thank you so much for everyone who has come. My name is Palin, and this is my third year at MNCS, and this is my project on horses. So what we're going to talk about today in this project is my favorite breeds, tips on horse riding, horse colic and digestion, my website, which is not a real website, but we'll get into that, why I did this project, my experience riding horses, and then different types of saddles, and then thank yous and questions. So about my favorite breeds, this one right here is an Arabian horse. How you can figure out what they are if you see them, you can look at them and see that they have small faces, wide eyes, and they have a bulge on their forehead. They have a very long arched neck with deep chest and a small straight back. And then their hindset or carriage, butt, whatever you want to call it, is more higher. And then they usually come in one color, but it can vary. They're known for their floating trot, and then large nostrils, great stamina, and they're very great for long trips and competitive sports. Over here is the Appaloosa, or known as paint. They are intelligent, calm, trainable, and have lots of different colors and spots. They are very sturdy, athletic, and then they have a similar build to quarter horses, which we'll get into that as well. They're well balanced. They have a very straight profile, and then a very big, broad forehead, and they're very strong boned. And then over here is the quarter horse. They are known for their very stocky and muscly build. They have a very wide head. They come in almost every color. Again, they have a straightforward profile, a very wide jaw, small ears. They're very intelligent and trainable. And then over here is one of my favorites. This is the miniature horse or pony. They come in almost all colors. They are very friendly, trainable, and highly sociable. And then they are very prone to obesity and getting fat. They are very strong, and they can pull up to almost 3 times of their body weight. They are gentle, affectionate, and then they have a long neck and very short, straight legs, and they are best for therapy work. So if you want a little therapy animal, I recommend those. So about horse digestion and colic. So it's going to go a little gross here, so I'm sorry, but this is a little picture of the digestive system. So the foregut is called, it's what you use for the mouth, esophagus, stomach, and small intestine. The esophagus is a muscular tube about 4 to 5 feet long, and it carries food from the mouth to the stomach through muscle contractions. And then the stomach is a small compartment where the acids and enzymes break down proteins and fats. The small intestine is the primary site for digestion and absorption of nutrients, acids, glucose, and vitamins, starches, proteins. And then the hindgut gets a little gross here. So the cecum, the large, sorry guys, I lost where I'm at. The large intestine, and then large colon, small colon, and then the rectum. The cecum is a large muscular built, it's like a little sac that it's the key part of the digestion system. It carries vitamins and the fatty acids for energy. And then the large colon is the absorption of nutrients and water, and it's the formation of feces. And it breaks down tough plant fibers, and it absorbs the fatty acids, and it also absorbs large amounts of water, which is very great for hydration. And then it moves the waste to the rectum before elimination. And then the rectum is the final section of the large intestine, and it serves storage area for the feces to be expelled from the body. And then colic is what we're going to talk about, the different types of colic. So these are the different types of colic. So about horse colic is it's another word for abdominal pain when the sections of intestine can move out of place or twist. It often blocks blood supply, and it's caused by a bad diet, dehydration, stress, parasite infections, food changes, and can cause gas buildup,
Signs of colic is pawing, kicking at the stomach, laying down and standing up frequently, sweating and rolling. And how to prevent colic is maintaining a routine, exercise, and keeping clean water. Different types of colic is the spasmodic, I don't really know how to say that, it's the most common type of colic, and it's usually started by intestinal spasms from excitement or stress, and it's usually resolved with medicine. Tympanic colic over there, it occurs when excess gas builds in the large intestine and it causes it to overstretch. Impaction colic is when feed or something else they've been eating builds up in their intestines and it creates blockage. Displacement and entrapment colic is when sections of the bowel move to a abnormal position and it causes pain. I don't know how to say that. Strangulating obstruction, where the intestine is blocked and the blood supply is cut off. And then inflammatory colic is inflammation of the small intestine or colon, and it often results in illness and diarrhea. It's not great. My website. So I couldn't talk about my website because it took up too much time, but if you want to scan that QR code, you are going to have to log into Canva. But if you do that, it'll tell you tips about riding horses and tips on how to take care of a horse. So I'll give you a few seconds to scan that if you want. Why I did this project. So I did this project because ever since I was little, I've had a love for horses and just animals in general. And every time my stepmom would go do chores, I would try to help her and just do anything I could to be with a horse. I would love to go hang out with my grandpa and my dad all the time and be with the horses. And now that I'm older, I've decided to try and do what I've always loved to do and love to help with. So I've always been interested in them and their breeds and their science and just how they work. And there's something so interesting about being 5 years old and seeing a big animal in front of you. So it's just always stuck on to me. My experience with riding horses. So I've actually started really riding this year. But when I was little, I would just hop on bareback with my older sister, and then my stepmom and oldest sister would just bring us in a little circle. But one day that ended when I was on the back with my older sister. My horse got stung by a bee, I was bucked off, and broke my arm. So I had a terrible, terrible fear of them until 2 years ago or so. The different types of saddles. Hold on, guys. I kind of lost them. Hold on. Okay. So over here is the Australian saddle. It is best for steep climbs, and it's also used for trail rides. It reduces fatigue when it comes to riding, and it's similar to the Western saddle, which we will get into. And then the Mexican saddle over here is used for farm work, slowing down cattle, trail rides, and roping. That's kind of what the big horn is for. And then right here is the English saddle. They are designed for close contact to the horse and freedom of movement. They are mostly used for jumping and long distance riding. And then over here is the Western saddle, which is right there. They're best for long distance and comfort. They're great for farm work, barrel racing, roping, and trail rides. Thank you to Kai Hansen, Max Brown, Jim Wortman, Matt Nemitz, my stepmom, and especially my older sister, Laura. And does anybody have any questions? Yes?
Can horses have Down syndrome?
I actually don't know. Probably. Yes, Max?
What's your least favorite breed of horse?
I don't know, to be honest. I mostly just researched out of the 4 of those, so I can give you my least favorite out of the 4 of those, which is probably the Arabian. Yeah. I don't like the look of their face, so yes.
What's your most favorite horse?
The pony. I was gonna have a little pony, but I didn't. Yes, Dad.
You need 4 parts of the saddle?
Name 4 parts of the saddle.
Yeah, you need to know it.
Thank you. I'm not gonna use my notes. So right up here is the horn, and then we've got the seat, right down here, the canter, and then where is it? over here we have a stirrup, and then I kind of forgot, Dad. I'm sorry. I forgot what this is called. Right here.
I don't know, is that that process limitation?
That one. And then right here is called the skirt. There, I can make up for that. Yeah, thank you. Anything else? Okay. Thank you. Oh. What about?
First thing you'll notice, besides any of the project stuff, oh, those gradient backgrounds, you know, they looked better. They look better to me, but you know, whoever designed those beautiful colors, the grain, I mean, that's pretty incredible. I guess before we start, I'll kind of give a warning that this is going to be really obscure and probably poorly communicated. So that's on me. Anyways, the actual project it was a research project with MSU, and it's about designing accessible websites for blind users. So whenever we talk about accessible websites or accessibility, that's under the umbrella of disabilities and mainly blind users. Blind users, you know, visual impaired, anything that makes them want to use what's called a screen reader. A screen reader just reads out the contents of their screen for them and can kind of give them some hints on how to interact with a website. So if you have like a row of 10 things, it'll read it out to you, and maybe one of them is a button. Visually, you can see that, but to a blind user, how are they supposed to tell? Well, the screen reader, if they design the website correctly, the screen reader will be told it's a button, and then it will forward that onto the blind user. And so one trend going on in web development is these UI libraries. So UI stands for user interface. It's just like how you design a website, and there are these great component libraries now that allow people who need to rapidly design a website to have pre-built components that actually look good. So maybe you need like a drop-down menu. You could spend a couple of hours designing it, getting the logic for it to work, dealing with focus, state, all these complicated things that are just like, they're monotonous, they're annoying, and you're not going to implement it as well as these big libraries. So that's where libraries come in. Those libraries specifically that we're talking about are Shanxian, which is the most popular one at the moment, Material by Google, which is, if you've ever interacted with it, which you guys have, you probably just don't know. But like Android is Material, things like that. That's what its design is about. And then there's Bootstrap. Bootstrap's not as popular, but it's in a lot of older sites and was kind of the first there. So that's the reason we brought it in the first place. And so, since they talk about accessibility consistently and so openly, the goal of this project was to work on actually analyzing their accessibility and testing it against real blind users. So we did a pilot study on it, and the actual tests are taking those three aforementioned libraries, Shadcn, Material, and Bootstrap, designing three not identical, but they're extremely similar websites, just based on a simple email UI, because email has it's functional, it's consistent, things like that. So we mainly just inspired it from Google's Gmail design and worked from there. That way we could isolate it just down to the actual frameworks. How well did the libraries perform? Our guess when testing it was that Material would be first place because it's backed by a $3 trillion company. It's battle tested. They obviously care about accessibility. Google does have resources on that. So we expected that to perform the best. Then Shadcn, because it's new, but we assumed its modernity is going to result in not paying attention to kind of the nuances of accessibility, because when you design something accessibly, there's only a very small minority of the population that care at all and know about it. And then we assumed last to be Bootstrap. Bootstrap is old. It's not that well maintained anymore. A lot of old websites use it, and the people who make Bootstrap, Twitter, they don't even use Bootstrap often now. Now they actually have been using Shadcn, from what I know. I think on their AI garbage. And so those were kind of our guesses. That's kind of how we assumed it to be. When we tested against blind users, we had them just do a variety of tasks, and we saw that Shadcn actually performed the best by wide margins. I mean, the blind users pretty much all agreed Shadcn, while it did have its problems, was much better than Material and Bootstrap. Material placed second. That's not really a great representation, though, of just how poorly Material did. I mean, the gap between it is incredible. For a $3 trillion company to have a UI library like that is popular, it was pretty surprising to me how poorly they performed. And last was Bootstrap. I mean, I assumed it to be bad, but there were a lot of issues on it. One test had a blind individual try to read an email, and it took about 10-15 minutes for them to fully be able to read the email, for them to fully navigate on the website, get the email. I think with Shadcn it was about 30-40 seconds. And that was their first test too. Bootstrap, they had the most experience just using the computer, so that's given it the most favorable odds there. We presented it at their undergraduate research symposium. There is me looking very great and dapper. Yeah, and believe it or not, this is kind of a crazy fact, but that poster right there was also over there. Pretty crazy. I know you guys don't have to all gasp, and yeah, I thought the presentation was pretty enjoyable to do. Got to talk with some interesting people, got to show off my own work, tell other people about it. It was for their undergrad research symposium with the computer science department. There were some other people presenting, or there were some other departments in there as well. I think certain tech sectors, graphic design, and stuff like that were also there. Thanks to my mom. Thanks to me. Thanks to Dr. Miller. Thank you to Dakota Palmer, who didn't come. For sure it didn't. Yeah, do we have any questions? That random guy, you?
Me?
Yep, whoever you are, yep.
What's next with this project in the summer?
We're thinking about doing more tests on them, and then making a research paper to get published in a journal or something like that. You?
What grade are you in?
I am in 9th grade. You? How many testers? We had around 3 or 4 testers. I think it was 3. It was a pilot study though. The goal for the main journal would be a couple hundred, probably make it a bit more streamlined. UI is user interface, so it's like it's just like kind of a fancy way to say anything on a website, just anything on there. When we talk about like UI libraries, it's like these pre-built ones. So like instead of making one button or whatever, there's someone else who has like published a button that works well. It's nice to work with for developers, and most developers just use it because it's easy. Dakota.
And you're gonna continue working with Dr. Millian
Yes.
in the undergrad department.
Yep.
As a high school student next year,
I
right?
hope so, yeah. I think so. You.
Are you like how long you been interested in computer science and like why did you choose like what made you interested in like the accessibility piece of it?
6th grade is probably when I got more into programming. I think I dabbled, gave up in 5th grade, and then in 6th grade I started to get more of an interest in it. Yeah. By 7th grade, I think I was actually like getting much more into web development, which I just found to be kind of more interesting because instead of using like all the like when you look at a language like Python or something like that, it can get things done. And like now that I'm a more experienced programmer, I understand that it can get things done. But just web development is nice because you can see what you're doing. Whereas in Python, it'll be like, the first thing you learn is like, guess what? You can actually print things to the console, something that you totally need, or you can do all these math operations. And I'm like, my calculator can do that. With web development, it's more like, you can type in big words and small words. It's fun. I was like, oh, this is interesting. Yeah, that was kind of got me started, and then I just kept working on it, learning more, and I first met Rashid Dave, who is a different professor that I've worked with in the past in like, I think summer of 6th grade going into 7th grade, because my sister was in like robotics. She does not like that stuff anymore, but there was like some sort of AI lab or whatever for high school students. My mom got me in. I'm not exactly sure how, but I remember my age was inflated or something like that. I think something like that. And then I guess I did well, and so I started working with him. And then I wanted to try some new things other than AI this year, and so he forwarded me to Dr. Millian, who talked more, or who we started the project up and stuff. That's how I went to it. And for the accessibility part, haven't thought about accessibility until I started this project. That was not something that was on my mind, and that was something that I knew nothing about.
So I'll follow up with that, and I apologize for being late. So I've delved in accessibility from a product owner perspective.
Oh.
But why should people care about accessibility?
One from the legal perspective, there is, I think it's the ADA, the Americans with Disabilities Act. If your website has some problems, I think Domino's was like a case where they actually did have the ADA applied against them for inaccessible web design. That can be a problem. Also just from the point of like equity between like for disabled people and everything like that, it is good to allow them to use the web and things like that, get them resources on it so they can engage. It also is positive in the regard of like this can take part of the burden off of like other institutions. So like maybe we have a disabled person because they can now use the web as it's more accessible because we were focusing on accessibility, like somebody else did that. Or now the teacher who like prints their work and has to go through all these hoops, maybe they're able to just put a PDF on there and they're able to read through it easily or something like that. It can be, you could kind of stretch it there. From a business perspective, I guess I'd just say the most clear one would be, one, accessibility does indicate certain forms of like better practices anyway. You're the second person to do that this night. It does indicate like better practices, which can be better for search bots and stuff like that, but the main one is like including disabled users and stuff like that. It also can be better if someone for some reason wanted to have their screen read, but then maybe they're like reading an article or something like that. That could be. Okay, yeah.
So you talked about not thinking about it prior to this.
Mm-hmm.
How has your thoughts on it changed?
Well, they've gone from non-existent to now like understanding it more. I think it's interesting because like you're separated from them. I mean, I don't know a lot of disabled or blind people, and so like being able to see them actually use it, it's like, oh, I thought that somehow they got through the world either without problems in it, or maybe they just don't use the internet. It's weird to know, like, oh, they just have like no screen, and they're like, oh, there's the link. Okay, got it. Okay, got the website. Stuff like that, like just to see them not even use a screen, where it's like, I need so much visual confirmation just going through. And so it's weird to think, like, when they don't have an accessible website, they don't get to use the website. Like one of our more stubborn testers, they would just keep going at it. They'd just keep going, like, where is it? Just trying, and you just sit there, because you got vision, it's like, I know exactly how to do it. I can tell them. They just need to click one button, and they have no clue. I mean, they're completely oblivious because it's inaccessible. Dakota.
What project are we going to see for your sophomore project in December or slightly after?
Not sure. Mine was going to be on like political science and stuff like that. That was going to be there. Programming's fun, but I have gotten a little bit bored of programming. I thought this project was probably something that sparked my interest in programming some more. So, yeah, I think that would finish it then. Do I have more? I do not. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Who needs the microphone?
Yeah.
Is this what the project's on?
Yeah.
Do you want to start by just handing it out and having
No.
people look at it?
It's okay.
Okay.
I got it. I just...
Got it. Yep.
Hello, my name is Althea Wortman, and this is my capstone project on making accessories. Why I did this project, I wanted to kind of elevate my fashion sense. I'm not a very fashionistic person, so I figured accessories would be nice. And it's always really fun to wear them. They look very cool, I personally think. Something fun to do all year between a bunch of like math and stress and a bunch of long projects. It's kind of fun to have something to do to relax in the day and make cool things. Experiment with some different mediums. I really only know like beaded bracelets, so I thought, why not do something like this? And this stuff always kind of intimidated me. I was like, oh my god, how do you do that? So now doing it, it's really fun. And I kind of fell into it, which I'll explain. I know I added that. What is Kumihimo? Kumihimo, you can pass this around, is flat braided bracelets using string or cord. It originates from Japanese culture. Some braids have beads in it, like I think those ones might. I saw that random picture online. And, you know, some have like up to 20 strings woven into them. And get very complex. I've seen some really cool ones. I came across Kumihimo while I did an experience week with Carrie. It was kind of like this string fiber arts thing, and I signed up for it on a whim. I actually wanted to go to Duluth or something, but like I didn't, so I just ended up doing this. And for the first day we did Kumihimo, and I fell in love with it immediately. I loved the kind of the simplistic nature of it, and just making all these string woven things. I actually do not have my first one with me. I think it broke, but it was kind of more like a cord. And there was kind of a slight learning curve, because it's kind of complicated when you first start, because the braiding, it's like, oh, the string is here. I'm supposed to put the string here. What's going on? But I proposed that as a project and did it daily. I would just have prepared string and just do it all the time because I loved it so much. And I thought, oh my god, I'm going to get a bunch of hours on it. But eventually I did get kind of sick of it. The patterns do get very repetitive after a while, going to later ones, because it's just kind of like, move this string here, move this string here, this string cross over this string, do this 50 more times, and eventually you'll have a bracelet. It's like, I don't want to spend 10 hours on something I don't even like doing anymore. So in the end, I decided to expand on the idea of making bracelets in my capstone project. So here are some pictures I have. I don't have a lot, unfortunately. There are some shoelaces I tried to make, but they were too short, and I already gave my shoelaces away to someone else, and they would not give them back. So I did not have any shoelaces, and I just kind of gave up on those shoes. And there's my cat right there. She made a very cute face. Well, I took the picture, so I just include that. There's one, I have a bead woven into it. I made little friendship bracelets, like little matching ones. And there are 3 examples of the braiding board, like how it's all positioned. What is candy? Candy is things made out of pony beads. Now, these include bracelets, kind of like these ones you consider, but it's very wide. The cuffs, which are like this, kind of like thicker stacked bracelets, I guess you could say. Charms, animals, small bags, ties, and whatever else you can think of. It's popular on Pinterest a lot with teenagers I have seen. What can I pass around? I'll pass around this. I know, very marvelous. My experience. I discovered candy while scrolling on Pinterest one day in December, and I was like, oh, this is kind of cool, I guess. I guess I'll try to make a star. So I scraped together a couple pony beads, and I was immediately like, oh my god, I did that. This is so cool. So, yeah, my mom got me a bunch of beads. She's like, oh, do this for a while. And I was like, okay, I'll do that for a while. And then I started expanding and expanding. I found lizards, cuffs, so many different charms. I was so mesmerized. And I decided to make it part of my capstone project way too late. I could have had so many more hours, but I did not do that. And I like this much better than Kumihimo because there's so much more potential. There's so much more you can explore than just braiding bracelets all day. Now, as you can see, I have a lot more pictures. Yeah, this is barely anything. This is little star gloves. I'm wearing some right now. These are the first stars that I made. Not kind of crappy a little bit, since I barely had any beads. Here's a picture of the Friday I did, which I will get into. The next slide, hopefully. There's a tie that I made for my friend. It's her birthday today, so I gifted her that. There's a candy pumpkin charm that I made. Here are some 6-sided stars. There's a cuff. I think it's 14 beads tall. Yeah, it's very big. There are some more on that side. There are some fish. There's an octopus. The first octopus I made, actually the first, I think, multi-stitch thing that I made, so it's not very good. There's a lizard. There's an example of a peyote stitch cuff. Here's a belt chain which you hook onto your belt. I'm wearing mine right now. There's the bag that I'm currently passing around. There is a fox. There is a spiked cuff, like this one. There is me in my tie. There is my cat with the 4-foot-long snake I made, because I found a bunch of pig beads in my bag one day, and I was like, oh, what is this? So I made a 4-foot-long snake, like any sane person would do, and there's her trying to eat it. There's the first tie I ever made, and there's probably the biggest item I've ever made, this bag, which took 10 hours to make. That is partly because I had to redo this panel, but yeah, there's a lot going on, and I entered in a competition, and it won 2 prizes, first place ribbons, and I got $5. Yes. And here is also a keychain. I show off these. A multi-stitch keychain. It's kind of like a bubble tea one. and also a monster can key, a little tiny monster can. Got the logo on it and everything. Very popular. I know. My community teas, I decided to do a Friday on candy. So I started with planning, which was super easy. I just did it hour by hour. Like, this hour of the day, I'll do this hour of the day, I'll do that. And of course, it all went out of hand. Next, looking at the supplies I needed, I ran around Mercator for like 2 hours. My poor dad was so stressed out. I was trying to find all the beads and the string that I needed. I was like, oh my god, this is not the right one. It was very crazy, but I got everything. And I also got snacks, because pretty much everyone set up for food. And I was kind of like down on my luck. I was like, oh my god, what if no one signs up for this? What if everyone thinks I'm weird and this isn't cool? When then a bunch of people signed up, it filled up within, I think, 6 minutes. So I let more people in, and everyone was like, oh my god, this Friday is so cool. I'm so excited to sign up. Oh my god, please let me in. This sounds so cool. And I was like, oh my god, thank you. And the day was super duper successful. Everyone had a great time from my knowledge. And everyone had, again, such a fun time. Everyone learned some new things. It was really fun to hang out with everyone. And it was really successful. It makes me want to do it again. Because everyone else told me, oh my god, you should do this again. Super fun. And some success and setbacks. I wanted to do a lot more. I originally wanted to make rock jewelry since I do have a rock polisher. But I could not get around to that. Obviously, burnout and kind of feeling lost. After the Kumihimo, I was like, oh, what do I do now? How do I finish this project? And, you know, obviously anxiety. The Friday went super well. Learning new things was always fun. Having some cool jewelry to wear. Having something fun to do at school. I didn't add this because I recently finalized this, I think, 2 days ago. But I got 120 hours and 1.4 credit. Yeah. Thank you too, Nick, for being a great advisor. My parents, for being great parents. All my friends who supported me and gave me ideas. My friends have so much stuff made by me. These aren't actually mine. I'm giving this to my friend. And everyone who showed up and showed interest in my Friday. Any questions? Yes.
So, first question, have you done a Friday before? Or was
No.
this your first?
That's my first time.
Okay, now my follow-up. What did you learn about yourself that you didn't know from teaching your fellow students?
I don't really know. It's a very complex, deep question. I'm not very good at teaching things, honestly, but I learned to be kind of patient. I don't really learn anything about myself, but I learned to be kind of patient, because it's kind of like you know everything, and everyone's like, oh, should I do this? And it's like, oh, no, you shouldn't. You should do this.
So, second follow-up then. So, you just said something, and I'm like, well, what would you do differently then? Because you said you'd like to do another Friday.
I'd probably make it, I don't know, a little more focused. Like, I was kind of like, oh, just do this, do this. I feel like I would kind of be like, oh, now we're doing this. And maybe make it on a specific thing. Like, oh, how to make a tie. How to make this. How to make this. Instead of just doing, oh, we're just doing everything today. Anything else?
For me.
Well, as part of this, I made little tiny frogs. If anyone want one, you can come up here and grab one. You can grab two if you want.
No, me, it's not your problem.
No. Rock's cool. They go way back to Cody. Max and that boy this year. Cody's cooler than
Thank you.
Yeah.
See that? He's on my side for once. He knows
might
it's
be like the
serious.
first time. It's easier when they're.
Are you interested in exploring other kinds of beadwork?
Maybe. Maybe with smaller bees than pony bees. Pony bees are really easy to work with. That's why it's kind of like so fun.
What is the biggest project that you can think of that you want to do? Like with candy.
Ooh. I've seen some really insane stuff online. I've seen like shoulder bags where it's like this big. That sounds really cool. I've seen knives and other weapons that you make out of beads, not functional. But that sounds really fun. I still think I can bring it to school.
Oh, great. Non-functional.
Yeah. I've seen guns made out of beads.
No.
Yeah, I
I mean,
the knives are pretty cool, but I would definitely want to make that though. I've seen little like shirts, I've seen little skirts, I've seen belts. Like there's literally no end to this. Shoes. I don't know about that one. That gets maybe some slippers, some little booties.
Yeah, Crocs. Make me a pair of Crocs. That would be great.
That was a good software project.
Yeah. And everyone's been asking for Monster cans now.
When's the Red Bull cans coming out?
I don't know. Monster is very easy to do since the logo is just very easy. I could. I'm thinking about selling all this. Yeah, I know.
I bought some pretty expensive Yowie from NOLA, so.
You bought what?
Expensive Yowie from NOLA. It was high quality, though. There's some good historical figures.
What?
Alright, next question.
Moving on swiftly. Historical figures?
Okay.
We're not going further either.
Okay, there we go.
Do you want to pull up another chair, Paul, or are you okay?
I think I got it.
Why, hello, everyone. Are we all settled? We all ready? Okay, I only got a little bit amount of time, okay? I'm sorry. Hello, I'm Elijah Vogt Horvat, or if my mom would say, Elijah Vogt Horvat. And this is my project about Paddlefish Smokehouse. Whoa. It's an idea I've had for a restaurant since I think probably August of this year, especially after I got SurfSafe certified, so I'm able to work in a commercial kitchen. That's really awesome to me. Let's just get into it. What are we going to be talking about today? Today we're going to be talking about the kitchen work I've done at the school itself, what Paddlefish Smokehouse is and what stuff I've done for it, with some extra stuff that I don't really know where to put, sadly, and then what my future wants to look like going further ahead. Why am I doing this? Number one is I absolutely love working with the culinary arts. I love giving something to someone that they can keep with them in their stomachs and minds because it was so good. The second point is that I think restaurants can honestly heal and build a community around themselves. And I really look up to that and aspire, and I love the sense of community that restaurants can give people. The reason is, I'm 14. I'm in 8th grade. How far can I get to making my own restaurants? Like, I really, really needed to know, honestly. Some background about my cooking. I've been in the school's kitchen since last January, and if you look at the lunch stock that we have, I'm in half the lunches, so you know I love doing this. And then also, I might have won the Chili Cook-Off this year, won both trophies. Whoa, that's crazy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, is that my own personal chef's hat? Whoa, whoa. Is that my SurfSafe certification? Whoa, is that my SurfSafe manager certification? What I did to get that specifically is that I had to go and stay here for past the school day to take a test and learn about all the SafeSurf manager stuff. was honestly really awesome, and we all actually all passed with, I think, flying colors, which is amazing to think that we have culinary brains up the wazoo in this school. What did I do for this project, like, before cooking and everything? Well, I might have read some cookbooks. Since I think probably the start of this year, I've read a pretty wide variety of cookbooks. Like, honestly, it's a pretty good amount, and I just really like reading cookbooks, guys. They're really fun. I like how people write about their food, and it's just really awesome, and I really love writing about it. I also help in Paul's Thanksgiving. You see how happy I am doing it. I made my own special food for it called bread studding. I'll get into it if anyone asks questions about it. Anyways, next slide. Where did I get the idea for Paddlefish Smokehouse from? I got it from Northern Water Smokehouse, a fish smokehouse up in Duluth, Minnesota. I love the place so much. I went there for my birthday. It's amazing. It's great. Love the vibe. I love the idea of a fish smokehouse. And I was like, can I make my own sandwich forward menu fish smokehouse? So I give you Paddlefish Smokehouse. And then also I got inspired by Alice's project on mocktails because she was making her own recipe cards and designs for a sandwich, and I found that amazing that someone could do that here. Now let's talk about the way I make Sammys, okay? Before I read the best book ever, Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat. Amazing. Carrie Rice gave it to me. They don't have a copy on me though, sadly. I kind of just put stuff together, like how I made the Bruce on the Loose, my first sandwich. Like, it was just, what good stuff can I put in bread? But after I read the book, the best book ever, this is how I make sandwiches now. It's usually bread, a crunch, a veggie, a cheese, a meat, and a sauce. Like, I don't know, a fat, a salt, a heat, and an acid. Whoa, it's crazy. And the crunch in the sandwich is a picnic, which is those little tiny shoestring potatoes in the can. I love them. They're awesome. I want to make a sandwich with them so badly. That's about the tasty sandwiches I made for this project. I have 12 sandwiches in total, but I only made 2 of them, sadly, because my funds are very low. The 2 I made were the Bruce on the Loose, of course, and the Levy Walker. I really love the Bruce on the Loose. It's the first sandwich I made. I just thought of what would go good, and it was a good sandwich. And then the Levy Walker was really awesome because I was like, what sandwich do I want on a nature hike? Like, what do I want when I'm like having the cold autumn breeze in my hair? Now, anyways, I got samples of both of them for you pleasant people. Pass it down, please. Pass it down, please. Pass it down. Oh, whoa. Is this more sandwiches? Whoa, pass it down, please. Whoa, it's crazy. Please pass it down. Yeah, I just started eating them, start munching on them, please. Now, what's on our menu? This is my menu. I've made 12 sandwiches, like I already said. And whoa, is this the menu? Pass it down, please. If anyone has questions on any of the sandwiches, please ask me right now. I've made the names, the ingredients, and like the kind of vibe around the menu, and I really love it. I also made the design for it, and the logo was made by Ashley Poplar, the school secretary. She honestly did an amazing job. Anyone got questions so far, though? You would ask them throughout the slideshow. We're going to continue. I'm sorry. We're short on time. Now, let's talk about how my Sauce Baron's journey began, a title that Dylan Anderson gave me. First, I made a sauce that I want to have at this restaurant, and then the restaurant was like, man, you should really bottle this. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll bottle it. And then she was like, I want to buy it. Bottle it so I can buy it. So then I made an actual bottle for it. Whoa, it's amazing. It's so pretty. I got my cottage food license for it so I can sell it. The photo I have is from our old labels that were taped on because they were taped on and it sucks, even though now we have new labels. They're so clean and fresh and crisp. Now, my community experts for this project were Martha Polachek and Andrew Zimmern. Martha Polachek is the owner of Marty's Deli. I met with her in like very early December. I think she's honestly an amazing mind in the culinary field, and like she's been raising the level of delis in Minneapolis when there used to be so many, and now there's so little, and now she's raised them back from the dead almost. It's insane. I really look up to her. I went to her restaurant like I'd say 3 weeks ago, and she remembered me, which is insane. It's crazy. It's really not that I was wearing the exact same outfit from last time, but who cares? And then Andrew Zimmern, I was able to meet with for a week. For an hour, sorry. And I asked him a bunch of questions like, how has your culinary stuff affected you moving from New York to Minnesota? He didn't really say that much about that, sadly. But then I asked him, how do you get like a young mind that has all of the certification into a kitchen that's actual good kitchen? And he said, just go for it, because he works at actual good kitchens at 14, and I look up to him for that. It's awesome. It's great. I love both these people so very much, and I look up to them so much, honestly. Now, let's get into my community piece. I helped a fellow student named Jameson cook wild game meat that he hunted himself, because I love the idea of cooking your own wild hunted meat. The first sandwich we made was a shredded turkey sandwich with black raspberry jam, onions and jalapenos, and a croissant. The other one that I don't have a photo of, sadly, was a venison burger with sun-dried tomato mayo. That one I think turned out a little bad because I haven't cooked with like ground venison yet, but I think I will get better, and I think hopefully I can improve from now. What's that on the stream for me? Everyone, get in the boat. Okay, let's row. What was that? Merch for Paddlefish Smokehouse? Whoa, like shirts and bandanas and stickers and even bigger bottles of sauce? Whoa, is that a food truck I hope to open in the future? Whoa, that's crazy. That's crazy. Gotta stir around it. Whoa, is that Chestnut Hill College, one of the best culinary colleges in all of the states? Whoa, it's insane. We gotta stir around it. It's so big. It's so big. Oh, here comes our stop. Is that the CAA, aka the Culinary Institute of America? That's insane. That's crazy. Well, this is my stop and where I want to like go when I get out of high school. It has, I think, 3 campuses across the states. One of them is in New York, and I want to go to that one because it has a bunch of different kitchens based off of different varieties of food across the world. And it has this glorious dining hall called The Egg. It's amazing. Thank yous to everyone sitting on board for either trying my sandwiches, buying my sauce, being my friends. All of them are amazing. I love every single person on this board. No. My family? Yeah, you thought. I really love my mom. She always supports me and gets me ingredients, and I really thank her for all of that, and birthing me, of course, so I can give you my genius mind of food. And then also my sister, because she got me into cooking in the first place. I'm actually here in this school when I came over. She was a really big baker, and she really inspires me. She's right there. Yeah, it's no big deal. Now, because Paul wanted me to do this, super thank yous for Paul. I honestly really look up to him. He's a foodie like myself, and he actually like inspired me to do this project, and even after it stretched like I think 3 blocks, he still continued and asked me to do more because he knew that I could do more and I could do good work about it, and I really look up to him for that. Also for like giving me so many ideas and being like the 3rd person to buy my sauce. You should have been first, but it's whatever. And then also not being such a sourpuss when I won both trophies that I just took off. But honestly, I really look up to him, and I hope that if I get a James Beard Award, I know who's gonna get it when I die. It's the Jagger family. Yeah, I really appreciate all of them. Finn, we're done. We're chill. We're good. No questions. Althea Woodman.
Who gave you the wild black raspberries?
It was you.
Also, do you want a frog?
No, I'm not right now. Baxton.
Sandwich or food that you were talking about earlier that
Wait.
we can ask questions at the end about?
Which?
I forgot what it was called.
The Bruce on the Loose. Any of the sandwiches on the menu. Yeah. What do you want to know?
You just said we can ask some about the food later.
Oh, okay. Yep. Thank you, Braxton.
I think he wants to know more about it.
Okay. Thank you, Braxton. I think honestly, the Bruce on the Loose is like a really big inspiration for me because Northern Water Smokehouse has a sandwich called the Cajun Fin, and it's like almost a salmon sandwich on a bagel. And I was like, man, what can I change to make it cool and unique and my own? So I made it my own. Yeah. Does that answer your question? Yeah. Okay. Colton, Ryan.
What's your favorite thing on the Marty's Deli menu? Because the hash browns are pretty good.
It's the Gigi, and I get hash browns with tomato jam. Thank you. And then Diet Coke. You gotta get a Diet Coke. Any other questions? Any other questions? Oh, yeah, Paul.
What food thing do you think you'll obsess about over the summer?
Apricots. Yeah. Got it. Apricots. Any other questions? Any other questions at all? I'm sorry I said apricots. You guys are weirded out, God. I'm so sorry. Don't answer like fish or something, God. Any other questions at all? Any reviews about the sandwiches? Were they good? Were they bad?
Very good.
Awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Anything else for anybody? From anybody? Oh, yeah, you, yeah.
How was the burger?
What do you mean? The deer burger?
Like, how did you make it?
It was just ground venison and we made patties. Yeah, pretty easy peasy. Any other questions or should I skedaddle? Okay.
It's just gonna keep sliding off. Table. That's fine. Do you want me to say it? Do you want me to say that? Okay, well now it's gone. we exit out of the presentation?
I can't find your cursor in this background.
It's right there. Okay. Hooray. My name is Colton Ryan, and this is my project about guitar electronics. And hopefully it's good. So basically, we're going to go over how the electronics, basically everything works. Different kinds of pickups. What's the difference between the kinds of pickups? I actually hate this. Well, how do they sound like? Probably not going to do that. This is just the middle. And I built another guitar. If it does this every time I touch it, I'm going to actually... So how does a guitar pickup work? A pickup works by taking the vibration from the string, by turning them into electricity using copper coils wrapped around 6 magnets, 1 for each string, and transmitting it through this cord. I'm going to that to make sounds. And you can change the vibration frequency and how they sound based on the pitch of the string, and also using knobs and switches. So basically, the volume knob acts as a voltage driver or divider. Yeah, that's what it says. And it controls the output power to change the sound. Yeah. The switch, this right here, it changes which pickup is active. Like right now I have it on the bottom pickup. But if it were all the way up here, it would be on the bridge pickup, which I can't tell the difference. I'm kind of tone deaf. But if it's in the middle, both of them are active. And then the tone knob acts as a filter to remove high frequencies. And uses a capacitor to make the treble frequencies just not as active, which kind of cancels hum a little bit, if I recall correctly. The difference. A single coil pickup is 1 coil wrapped around the 6 magnets for a bright, clear tone, typically used for like country music, surf music, funk music, basically all of that. A humbucker pickup, which is what's on the black guitar right there. The single coil pickup's on the green one down there. The humbucker pickup is essentially 2 single coil pickups wired opposite of each other, and it has a darker, more clear tone. And it also, since they're wired opposite of each other, it cancels the hum from the single coil and the P90, which is in this one. The P90 is a more versatile and high output version of a single coil, so it's basically in between the two, which is why I'm using this to play. And it's used for like rock, blues, and punk music. What do they sound like? So, my note card says wing it. It's the only thing you're good at. So the P90, imagine something that's in between on the other sides of this. This is in between the two. And it's basically the same thing, only this one hums more and it's brighter. This one doesn't hum and it's darker. It's basically what that is. And that is what a humbucker looks up more up close. I couldn't find a good picture. I didn't think to take a picture of it till right now, but that's what a single coil looks like. You can see the coil and the 6 magnets. That's what it looks like. Pedals. Guitar pedals alter the signal before it reaches the amp to change the sound. Like, I have a wah pedal on the floor here, and I don't know how well it's gonna work because it's on a clear tone. I'm also tone deaf. That's kind of what the wah pedal does. And that's what it sounds like without the wah pedal. Pretty simple. And it does that by using different capacitors and circuits. They're different depending on what type of pedal you have. I didn't really go too into detail about which circuits are in which pedals, but I know this pedal, it makes it do that weird sound, and like an overdrive pedal, which is what I use at home, adds distortion and makes it louder, depending on the settings you have on it. Guitar build, this is this black one right there. It started out by those two pieces of wood right there. I didn't cut them. I'm not that skilled. I didn't put in the frets. I'm also not that skilled. So I started by spray painting the body. You can see that's the spraying booth up there that we used. It's just a barbell, and I don't really know what material that thing is. But yeah, that's the rig we used to hang it when it was drying. I'm surprised none of it dripped on the ground, but it didn't. Well. I put grain filler on the front and the back. And then that picture, if it comes up again, is over there. It's me putting polyurethane on the back of the guitar, which basically protects it from like damage and stuff. Protects the paint from chipping. That guitar down there has a lot of chip paint on the edges. I can show you later if you want to see it. But yeah, and it doesn't really smell very good to a lot of people. I personally like the smell, but I put it in the bathroom downstairs, down in my downstairs, so that it didn't stink up the entire house. I put polyurethane on the front as well, and I put the body in the box so that I didn't have to worry about it. I spray painted and put polyurethane on the neck, and then I put the tuners on the head, cameo from my dog's feet. And the tuners are silver. I kind of like how the black on silver looks. The two pictures I have right here of the neck were taken over there at school. I kind of added them last minute-ish. The guitar build, I also wired these pickups with a lot of help from Nick Ryan, my father. I took the body, wired the pickups, and then the switches and the knobs, okay? There's a panel on the back that you can unscrew, and that's what it looks like under that. I unscrewed it while I was finalizing this project to show the people I was finalizing with. And then I took that picture because it'd be cool to see in my slideshow. And that's what the switch and the knobs looked like before I wired them. This was mad annoying. I do not like soldering at all. That's what it looked like at the end. And that's me playing it for the second time. The first time was to see if it actually worked. I put the neck and the body and attached them together, obviously, because you have to do that. And then I went to Guitar Center and got this strap that's like roses and stuff, and strap pins to put the strap on my guitar. Future plans. I could play guitar. I could start a band with a bunch of crackheads and hobos I find on the street. And I could just play. I can just stand in for bands who need me, because that sounds like it would be a fun job. Music production, it's fun. I did a little bit of it last year and a little bit when I was bored here this year. It's fun. You get aura. Just look how much aura Mike Shinoda has because he's a music producer and he sings. He's so cool. I want to be him so bad. Trivia. I'm a nerd about this stuff and I know stuff. I'm smart. I'm not smart at all. thank you for my dad for holding my hand through the entire guitar build process. Matt for being my advisor, even though he's not here, but he told me I needed 50 hours in my 75-hour project, which kind of screwed me over because I needed like 20 hours last month. So fun. My mom for letting me invade the kitchen table for a couple months probably. My friends for letting me complain about this project so much to them and about me complaining about not wanting to present today because I don't like presenting in front of people. Yes, you. Anyone who helped me practice the presentation, which is basically just Matt and Orion. They were here from my one practice presentation. And you two back there. And then also I want to thank my dog for always being in the worst possible spot at the worst possible time. She was always in the way. It made me so mad sometimes. Do you have any questions? Max.
You pointed out that big box thing, what is it?
That's an amp. Other Max.
What is the white part on the guitar?
It's a pick guard to protect the body from the pick. Because sometimes you can play really vigorously and like scratch the paint with the pick. Tristan.
How long have you been like getting used to the guitar, like playing it for?
I've been playing for a little over a year. I'm not very good at it, but it is what it is. Lincoln.
Why specifically hobo the crackhead?
Because, I don't know, because I feel like that's the only people who would join my band. Jacob. That's what that is. It was inspired by James Hetfield from Metallica. No, you don't. Paula.
Before you become a famous guitarist, have you ever thought about teaching music lessons?
Not really. I'm not very good at playing the guitar yet, so I don't know how I'd teach someone. Yeah. Thea?
Who is your guitarist inspiration?
Like Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine and Audio Slave.
I would have never guessed that.
James Hetfield and Kirk Hammett from Metallica. Slash. Lincoln.
What?
Yeah. Leif?
Can you play us a little song?
I don't have time for that. There's someone else who also needs to present after me.